When Megan and I lived in Texas, we averaged spending over $8,000 a month, and we still felt stressed all the time. And it wasn't just the money. After leaving the US, I realized there were all these hidden costs to American life that I'd started to normalize. Everyone knows life in the US is expensive, but if you've never lived there yourself, you might not realize how bad it actually is. I kept having this funny social interaction when I first moved to Albania, where I would meet a local and I would explain to them that I was moving here from the US, and they would look at me like I was crazy. The reaction happened repeatedly, and the person would always have this very genuine look of confusion on their face. But life in the US, it's a stark contrast to life here in Albania. The financial costs are no secret. Energy costs are devastating people's budgets, food costs are soaring, add in healthcare costs and vehicle costs, and then a lot of people struggling with college debt. The list goes on and on. The reality of these increasing expenses is people can't afford to buy homes, they can't afford to start businesses, and they can't afford to start families. And this isn't conjecture. I've been reading article after article about this. Everything from the increasing average first-time homebuyer age, which is 40, to declining birth rates. Did you know the average cost of childbirth in the US is $20,000? And that's if everything goes well. But these are the financial impacts. They're all very common. They're often talked about. I want to look into some of the things downstream of these things. I used to watch a lot of content from guys like Not Just Bikes and City Nerd. Those dudes make amazing videos about infrastructure and walkability, or its lack thereof, in the US. Cities were ripped apart at different points in their development to make space for cars and highways. Main streets were converted to high car traffic areas, and all the pedestrian shops along the way shuttered because there were no more customers. Fun fact, one of my favorite childhood movies, Roger Rabbit, is secretly about how the rail system in LA was devastated to make space for freeways and cars.
What the hell's a freeway? 8 lanes of shimmering cement running from here to Pasadena. Smooth, safe, fast. Traffic jams will be a thing of the past. I see a place where people get on and off the freeway. On and off and on all day, all night. Soon, where Toontown once stood will be a string of gas stations, inexpensive motels, restaurants that serve rapidly prepared food, tire salons, automobile dealerships, and wonderful, wonderful billboards reaching as far as the eye can see. My God, it'll be beautiful.
Come on. Nobody's gonna drive this lousy freeway when they can take the red car for a nickel.
Oh, they'll drive. They'll have to. You see, I bought the red car so I could dismantle it.
True story. And this has a huge correlation with negative health outcomes in the US. Did you know that cars kill 44,000 people a year? When cars first became prevalent, people were outraged at the danger that they posed to communities. Years of propaganda had to happen to convince people that streets are meant for cars and not people. Eventually, society just came to accept that car deaths are a part of modern life. Cars aren't the only thing threatening your life in the US. Did you know that millennials and Gen Z are the first generations to have shorter life expectancies than their parents? We have some of the highest healthcare costs in the world with some of the worst healthcare outcomes. And this is especially true for things like infant mortality, where the US ranks 54th in the world. We're beaten by virtually every other developed country. To add insult to injury, people are reporting less casual dating, which leads to declining marriage rates, all tying back into the rising costs. The job market seems like it's getting worse by the day. It's not uncommon to see people making videos talking about submitting hundreds, even thousands of resumes and hearing nothing back. People are worried about an impending recession, and a lot of people are feeling like we're already in one. US residents can't find work, they can't afford homes, and they can't afford to start families. There's a cultural phenomenon that happens here in Albania. I hope I pronounced this correctly. It's called Giro, and it basically means evening walk. The streets come alive here in the evening after dinner. People all just come out and they walk and they talk with their families, and the whole community seems to participate. A lot of relationships are started during this time because it's such a common activity that the whole community is participating in. You might make a new friend or meet your future spouse, but can you imagine something like that in the US? I laugh just thinking about it. I don't think there's much chance you're going to meet your future spouse at Walmart, but stranger things have happened. No offense to you if you've met your spouse at Walmart. I had a realization recently that since I moved to Albania, I can't remember the last time I saw a billboard. There's substantially less advertising in general. I remember one time I was with a friend and I was pumping gas. I start to pump the gas and a screen pops on the pump and it just starts advertising to me, and instinctually I just sit down in the car and shut the door to block the sound out. My friend looks at me confused and he's like, "Why did you get back in the car?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, the ad, it just felt like the best way to get away from it." That's a problem that's getting worse everywhere, but the US is really the precipice. Another fun fact, Albania doesn't have ads on their YouTube, so if you have a VPN and you set it to Albania, poof, no more ads. But that's probably a big reason that consumerism is much less prevalent around the world. Fewer ads, fewer possessions. I haven't really seen storage units anywhere over here either. I think if I tried to explain that concept to a local, they would probably laugh at me because it sounds really stupid to them. Megan and I owned a 3-bedroom house with a study and a 3-car garage. It was just the two of us. Why did we need to own a house that size? We didn't. But it's just the thing that you're supposed to do. It's what they tell you to do. If you're able to buy a house, you're told that it's a better lifestyle and it's a good investment. But the reality is not that simple. It's not for everyone. I, for example, detest lawn work. I hated owning a house. And the increasing costs with the Texas taxes and insurance, it felt like a money pit that never felt worth it to me. And it's only a good investment if the market doesn't crash. But if the market doesn't crash, average people will never be able to afford homes. I'll tell you one thing the house was good for though, Amazon deliveries. We got those much more reliably and frequently once we bought the house. It seemed like almost every day we had a new delivery for some knick-knack or consumer item. When there's just 2 people, you gotta fill your house up with something, and we definitely did. I won't say it was all bad because I had a really great man cave. A whole room I could do whatever I wanted in. I had a giant TV, studio monitors, a standing desk. I had a pair of really nice office chairs, a really nice reclining couch. It was like a media center. The whole room was covered in LED lights. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. But the reality is, it just cost an arm and a leg, and all it helped me do is isolate myself. The time I spend in there in a lot of ways here in Albania has been replaced spending time in public. For example, I often write these scripts in coffee shops. Sometimes I'll spend hours a day in them. I've made friends and I meet people all the time here. Now, I went to Starbucks occasionally, but never with any consistency. And the idea of meeting a person there and becoming friends with them seems crazy. If you can relate to any of this, just know that you're not alone. A lot of these problems are getting measurably worse. I found a solution that worked for me. Now, it's not for everyone, but for some of you, it might just be time to leave. If that's something you're thinking about, I'm glad you're here. I have a lot to say about it. But enough about me. What bothers you the most? And what are you most excited about living outside the US? If you want to see another video like this, just let me know, because this list is practically never ending. I really appreciate you watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can scan the QR code here, or you can look for the link to buy me a coffee in the description below. I love making these videos for you guys, but it's a one-man show when it comes to the writing, filming, and editing process, so any support goes a long way. And if you've already donated, I just want to say thank you, and hey, did you get your hair cut? Because you're looking good. For more content about what it's like to be a US expat escaping the US rat race, especially if you're interested about life here in Albania, stick around for this next video. Might be just what the doctor ordered.